I'm him. I'm the dude. I was the provider. I was the family man. I was the one that took care of the kids, even her kids. Okay, when I didn't have any of my own children. Okay, I held the house down, took care of her in a health crisis. She had full blown epilepsy, and I made sure that she didn't seize out and die many times. Saved her life. Right, middle of a health crisis. She didn't have to work for 4 years out of our relationship, out of 11 years. Didn't have to work. Whole time she was pregnant, didn't have to work. Didn't have a care in the world when it came to bills, when it came to taking care of her children, when it came to just little extra things. I couldn't afford luxurious things, but I did have enough money to afford some extras here and there. I tried my best, did everything I could. Only in the end to be discarded like trash. And 8 years in, she has a relationship with a whole man behind my back. But then when I find out about it and I call her out for disrespect, she tells me she did it because I would not abandon my kids to be discarded because I was a good man. And then you want to act like she's such a good person. No accountability. Acts like it's okay to wish death on you. Acts like it's okay to curse your children and tell you that because you did not abandon your kids, that makes you less of a man. And it makes it that you couldn't keep a family together when that's the reason you left or didn't come back because you got put out for being disrespectful. But then I thought, it would probably be better to raise my son with his mother than to raise him apart. So I said, you know what? Maybe we can find a way to reconcile it. But then, as I would not, kids, you decide it's not working, or you decide discard trash. But it's okay because you know what? The whole point of this is to bring awareness to my son and the young kings and let you guys know it's not worth it. And I heard a saying a long time ago that smart men don't get married. Okay, just keep it pushing. It's not worth it. Not in today's society. Not in today's world. Okay, not saying that there aren't rare people out there. Rare people who value love, value relationships, value communication. They actually value family. There are people, they're rare. And if you find them, you hold on to them, you don't let them go. Okay? Because to be done and to be treated the way I was treated for being a good man, being the provider, I had my insecurities when it came to dating women with children anyway. But I got over that because I felt like, you know what? Every woman deserves a chance. And I'm the product of a single mother. Okay? My father was there, but my dad died when I was young. So it's like my mom raised us pretty much by herself. And, I turned out pretty good. But that's funny because, leave it up to, the woman that discarded me after she has my son adds to the problems of the generational curse that young black men have to this day anyway. But I've got to teach my son never go through that.
Frankly, that's the wrong message. There's a lot to unpack here. But before I start, I'd like to say I appreciate all the new subs that came through and followed the channel, man. I really appreciate you guys. Look, there's always going to be three sides to every story. Okay, his, hers, and then the truth. And he seems like a pretty genuine dude, honestly. He does. And when I look at him, I see myself in him over 10 years ago when it happened to me. What I don't see is him taking full accountability for his actions. That's what I don't see. And I didn't see that in myself. back when I got divorced. And so, like I said, there's a lot to unpack here. So he didn't provide enough context in the very beginning as to, other than the fact that she cheated and how he was working hard. And I get all of that, man. You're a good dude for that. But you're a product of your environment, right? You were raised by a single mom. Not sure how your father passed, but you were raised by a single mom, and you saw your mom struggle throughout her years. She was working her butt off, trying to provide for you guys, and you have that empathy and always had that empathy towards your mother. And this is partly the reason why you decided to date a woman with children, because, like you said, you believe women always deserve that second chance. And that's part of a major, major problem that we have. And this is why the culture is screwed up, because the majority of us were raised by single parents. And when you don't have that father figure laying down a law in the house, laying down the foundation, watching your dad move, you're going to end up in your position. All right? We got to start holding our mothers accountable and really asking some of the most important questions, like, well, why did you choose him? If you knew he was a bad dude, for those fathers that were bad dudes, for those fathers that weren't in their children's lives, why did you choose the man you chose? Didn't you realize that at some point maybe he wasn't going to stick around, and then ultimately you would have to raise me alone and struggle? And what happens? You wind up becoming a product of your environment. The streets wind up raising you. The internet winds up raising you. Social media winds up raising you. Right? And then you get older and you start looking at women in your mother's situation and you start feeling bad for them and you want to save them, and you think you can save them. You think that you can for whatever reason. And sure enough, it turns around and it bites you in the ass. I made several videos on why I disagree with men trying to date women with children. There's only rare exceptions as to why any man would want to do that. And I said those. I'm not going to bring them up, but there's rare exceptions. But because you find somebody that may look pretty or has the body you're looking for, maybe she's talking sweet in the beginning and everything seems a bit cool and there's no beef whatsoever, whatever the case may be, you're still not asking the right questions. I remember I heard Kevin Samuels a few years ago, I would say about 4 years ago, say to a woman, providing that I enter your life and I'm the father and I become the stepdad, your child grows up and your child is cutting up and is misbehaving to the point where your child is not listening to you. Will I be able to discipline your child however I see fit at the moment? And this woman said, absolutely not. You're not the father. So at what point is it beneficial to you to go ahead and raise someone that would never allow you to discipline their children? It's very rare that you'll have a woman agree to that. It's very, very rare if you're not the biological father. That alone in itself, I was like, absolutely, man. That's why I would never do it. That's why I would never do it. Especially if you come into the relationship and the kids are 8, 9 years old, 10 years old. Because the teens, it's even worse if you come into a relationship when they're teenagers. But 8 and 9, 7, pain in the ass kids. You're bringing home dinner. You bought these steaks. Like you said, you couldn't really afford anything because you was out there providing and you were working. She didn't have to work. And now they're not eating the food that you bought and you spent $30 per steak. Don't you want to put your foot in their ass? But you can't because they ain't your kids. And the minute you do, she's on your neck, stepping on your neck. So the one thing I didn't hear from you was take accountability for why you went out there and chose the wrong woman. And now you want to be angry because it does seem like you're angry. And it's partly because maybe you're surrounding yourself with other angry men that are in your position, which I highly advise against. I think you should be surrounding yourself with men that have experienced it but grew. Maybe they got remarried, because marriage is beautiful, bro. Marriage is amazing. I'll never, ever not advocate for that, man. Like, I'm always going to advocate for marriage. And so for you to, be a little bit emotional about the situation that you're in and say how you're going to advise your son not to be in the same situation you're in. No, that's the wrong thing, man. You're just going to create an angry son. And then that relationship between you and your son when you're trying to raise your son, right? Because now you got a co-parent. Mom's is going to be saying one thing, you're going to be saying another. And now you're going to have to force your son to choose, well, who do I listen to? You don't want that. It's going to be difficult dealing with that throughout your son's life. Instead, you should be letting him know the reason why you chose his mom. What was the reason why you chose his mom? Go back to how you were raised and what you were taught by your mother and why you made the decisions you made. You start from there. Start from the foundation. Start from the bottom up. Let them know, I chose it because of this. I felt sorry. I felt sorry for my mother and what she had to go through. Even though she's the one that made the mistake and chose the wrong dude. We got to start asking the right questions. And we got to teach our sons to ask the right questions. And not just, try to marry a woman or date a woman because of what she looks like. She got a fatty or whatever. Come on, man. You got to start asking proper questions. Maybe I'll do a video as to what type of questions you should ask a woman when you want to marry him and the responses that you should get. I don't know, man. I see myself in you, bro. I understand where you're coming from. Probably need new friends. First time I ever seen a dude say the things he said on social media. Typically, you would see more women do this. You don't really see too many men doing this. So he's angry. And I get it, man. I get it. If this video comes your way, man, you want to talk, trust me, man. I got tons of experience in this department. Believe me. All right? But marriage is beautiful, man. You just got to find the right one. And it's not rare. There's a lot of good women out here, bro. Guaranteed, there's a lot of good women. You just got to put yourself in that situation. That's it. Surround yourself with positive people, man. Good people, good-spirited people. And you'll get there. With that being said, people, what do you think? You mess with it? Yes? No? Am I onto something? Am I wilding? Whatever. Leave it in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.